I'd like to ask a question of the gentleman from Bank of America. Have any of the TARP funds you've been given so far been used to lobby?
No.
Are you familiar with a posting that was in the Huffington Post, which seemed to indicate that there was a Financial Roundtable conversation in which someone from your office indicated that that the Employee Free Choice Act should be rabidly opposed by the members of the Financial Roundtable?
I don't go to the Financial Services Roundtable, so I would not know.
Do you agree with me in principle that any company that gets a TARP funds, those funds should be used to either recapitalize the bank or to otherwise promote solvency within the bank and promote lending, and not to try to impact or try to defeat any measures in Congress to promote union organizing?
For use of the TARP funds, yes.
Okay. And so can I take it can I have your assurance that no TARP funds have been devoted to lobbying?
Correct.
Do you think it's appropriate to, while in receipt of TARP funds, to be trying to defeat measures such as the Employee Free Choice Act?
I think it's doing what's in the best interest of your company is always the best thing to do. So I wouldn't point to any one thing and say just because you have TARP funds you can't do something.
Yeah, but as has been pointed out already, money is fungible. What you don't use one place, you can switch and use other monies for that. While you're using TARP funds, wouldn't you agree that your company needs to be using those funds for their intended purpose?
Yes. And
not trying to defeat union organizing.
And $45 billion is in the context of $230 billion in equity. And
okay.
So you've got to think of it in the context of a much larger number.
Right. Well, I just wanted to put into the record, have unanimous consent to have entered into the record this letter from Change to Win to Mr. Steve Bartlett, who was with the Financial Services Roundtable. And in it he describes a conversation in which several companies which received TARP funds were having some fairly frank conversations about lobbying. And I find it pretty disturbing, and I'd like you to respond to this letter if you would, sir, because it specifically mentions your company.
Here we have general leave, so it'll be part of the record.
I also like to give voice to the people of my district who sent me a number of questions to ask all of you. I'll just give you a sense of how these questions go. One is, aren't bonuses to reward productivity not failure? That's Ann J. from Minneapolis. Whatever happened to banks being risk averse? That's Pat V. from Minneapolis. And it goes on and on and on. And I just wanted to give voice to it because it is true that there's a general concern about the state of our financial services industry. And to the degree that we give you a benefit that our constituents think you shouldn't have, we run afoul of them. So I hope you bear that in mind as you go about the use of your TARP funds. I also want to have this put into the record, and I do recognize there's general leave to have things put into the record, and that is a article written by Adam Levitin, who talks about how securitization and of credit card debt has contributed to the financial malaise that we find ourselves in, so I'll have that in there as well. Mr. Pandit, I'd like to ask you a question about solvency at Citi, and I'd like to have these, actually both the gentleman from Bank of America and Citi, both these questions might apply to you. Could you share with me what you feel the solvency of your firm is at this time? How about you, sir? Yeah.
Congressman, our Tier 1 capital ratio is 12%. That's an enormously high capital ratio, well above whatever the regulators consider to be well-capitalized banks. And that's the risk capital that supports all our depositors, all our creditors, all our bondholders. That's a very, very strong ratio. We feel well-capitalized as a company.
Will the gentleman yield just for one?
Yes, I will yield.
In the questioning before that, I think, and I know the gentleman's thoughtful, we very much as a body respect the freedom of association and the freedom of speech. And I know the gentleman.
Well, reclaiming my time. Maybe reclaiming my time. If the gentleman wants to,
That's really a debate on the gentleman's
he wants to debate the issue, he can get his own time for that. If
No,
there's a
I
legitimate
apologize,
question.
but I'm just saying I didn't want them to get the wrong. And I know you didn't mention.
I hope that doesn't come out of my time.
No, it does not.
From Bank of America, what is your Tier 1 capital ratio?
It's about 10.6.
Now,
And remember, we made money in 2007. We made money in 2008, about in the total of those 2 years, $19 billion. We did not lose money like some banks across the world did. And so to ask me that question is amazing.
well, I mean, I've asked the question, you've answered it. Tell me, how has Merrill Lynch, the acquisition of Merrill, impacted your Tier 1 capital ratio?
That was the reason that we took the injection to do the deal, and so it actually helped it because we filled the hole that was caused by the loss.
And what about Countrywide? How does that impact your...
Countrywide's not big enough to affect us in any big way.
Now,
Can I just say, when you say the injection, that's the second TARP from me.
Second piece.
Not the first, but the second injection took this. Go ahead.
Now, there's been wide speculation that some of our larger banks around the nation may end up being nationalized. Do you feel that your bank should be considered one of those banks at risk?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I don't know why you would ask the question.